the UK wants to be an AI superpower. A huge ambition.
Okay.
And to make it happen, they've released just a mountain of policy documents.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. If you're like me, navigating that sheer volume can feel, well, pretty overwhelming.
For sure.
So consider this your rapid download of the UK's AI strategy. We're trying to extract the crucial insights, without getting totally bogged down in jargon.
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the UK government's multifaceted approach to artificial intelligence.
Okay.
We'll break down their national vision, look at how they're planning to regulate this really rapidly evolving tech, and even explore how the government itself is actually using AI.
And we've got plenty to work with, lots of source material.
Yeah.
We've gone through the National AI Strategy, the Pro-Innovation White Paper, plus the consultation response to that,
The AI Opportunities Action Plan.
the government's own AI playbook, and that new AI regulation bill that's being discussed.
And that's not all. We've also pulled in info from key regulators. The ICO, Ofcom, FCA, CMA, MHRA, CAA.
Wow, okay. The whole alphabet soup.
Pretty much.
Right.
Plus organizations like the AI Standards Hub and the AI Safety Institute. They're vital pieces too.
So our mission here is pretty straightforward then.
Yeah. Simple goal. Extract the core intelligence from all this stuff. We want to give you a clear grasp of the UK's AI ambitions, the debates around regulation, and concrete examples of AI in action.
Highlighting the essential takeaways, connecting them to what's maybe most valuable for you if you're looking to get up to speed quickly and thoroughly.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into this national vision. At its heart is the National AI Strategy. It's a 10-year plan, basically.
Yeah, a decade-long blueprint.
Yeah.
The aim is to make the UK a global AI superpower.
And it seems to stand on 3 main pillars.
That's right. 3 key pillars. First, investing in the whole AI ecosystem. Second, making sure AI benefits all sectors of society. And third, governing AI effectively.
Right, governance, always the interesting part.
Well, they're all interconnected, really. The strategy gets that being an AI superpower isn't just about fancy algorithms. You need the foundations.
The ecosystem pillar.
Exactly. That means nurturing talent, things like visa reforms, building solid data infrastructure, getting enough compute power. They all feed into each other.
Makes sense. And each pillar has some, pretty specific objectives, doesn't it?
It does. Talent, like I said, attracting top global experts, then these AI missions.
Yeah, I saw those. Tackling big things like net zero and healthcare.
Precisely. Big societal challenges. Plus, the UK wants a real voice in shaping global AI standards. Influence is key there.
You can really see the balancing act they're trying to pull off.
How so?
Well, fostering innovation because, the economy, but also building public trust and sticking to core values.
That tension is definitely there. It
Yeah.
runs through pretty much all these documents, this constant effort to find the right equilibrium.
Yeah. And the strategy is clear, isn't it? That this isn't a quick fix. It's a long game.
Absolutely. It's about sustained investment skills, data, processing power, and understanding that this needs ongoing partnership between public and private sectors.
Okay, so building on that strategy, we get this pro-innovation regulatory idea from the white paper.
Yes, and the response to the consultation on it. This is where their kind of unique approach to AI governance starts to come into focus.
And the core idea is principles-led, adaptable, and initially at least not heavy on new laws.
That's the gist. Instead of a big new AI law straight off the bat, they set out 5 cross-sectoral principles.
Right, I remember these. Safety, security, robustness.
Transparency and explainability.
Fairness.
Accountability and governance.
And contestability and redress.
And the plan is to empower existing regulators to apply these within their own areas.
So the logic is the FCA knows finance, the MHRA knows healthcare.
Exactly. They argue those bodies have the deep domain expertise needed to interpret and apply these broad principles effectively in their specific contexts.
And there's money behind this to help the regulators.
Yeah, over 100 million committed. Part for AI innovation, but crucially part to boost the AI capabilities within those existing regulators. It shows they're serious about making this distributed model work.
It's definitely a different path compared to, say, the EU's AI Act.
Oh, very different. The EU's approach is much more detailed, more prescriptive. The UK's aiming for something lighter, hoping it spurs innovation.
But that lighter touch,
Ah.
does it have downsides? Maybe slower adoption or inconsistencies?
That's the potential risk. Definitely. When you give responsibility to lots of different regulators, you naturally get questions about consistency.
Right. How do you make sure fairness, for example, means roughly the same thing in finance as it does in broadcasting?
And do all these regulators actually have the AI expertise needed right now? That's a big question.
Which brings us to the role of the central function in DSIT, the Department for Science, Innovation, and Technology.
Exactly. They acknowledge this challenge. DSIT's central function is meant to be the glue, fostering coherence, looking at cross-sector risks, providing support funding, connecting regulators with research, that kind of thing.
There's a steering committee too, right? Helping coordinate.
Yes, the Cross-Governmental Steering Committee is part of that coordination effort.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that the government is now thinking again about whether these principles should have a statutory basis after the consultation.
It is interesting. It suggests the feedback they got highlighted potential benefits to putting them into law.
Maybe providing more clarity, more certainty for businesses trying to navigate all this.
Quite possibly. A firmer legal foundation might offer greater clarity, better enforceability, and maybe boost confidence, both domestically and internationally.
Okay, so that's the vision and the philosophy. Let's talk practical steps, the AI Opportunities Action Plan. This is more of a roadmap.
Yeah, this is the how-to guide for maximizing the economic and public benefits from AI. It gets into more concrete recommendations.
And it's structured around three main areas.
Pretty much. Laying the foundations, changing lives with AI applications, and securing the UK's future in AI.
Okay, laying the foundations. That sounds like the nuts and bolts infrastructure, data, talent.
Exactly. Things like a sustained investment strategy for AI infrastructure, really beefing up the National AI Research Resource, ARR.
And these AI growth zones, what are they about?
They're designed to kind of streamline planning rules and improve access to things like grid connections, the physical infrastructure needed for AI hubs. And it really hammers home the need for better access to both public and private sector data for responsible AI development. Plus, big investments in skill scholarships attracting global talent. You see the direct link back to the National AI Strategy's ecosystem pillar.
Right. Then there's changing lives by embracing AI. This sounds like it's about adoption, especially in the public sector.
Yes, the mantra here is scan, pilot, scale. Find promising areas, test them out small scale, then roll out the successful ones more widely.
And smart procurement, using government buying power.
Exactly. Leveraging government contracts to drive innovation in the UK AI market.
So the public sector is kind of being set up as a test bed, an early adopter to build confidence.
That's a key part of the strategy. Demonstrate responsible AI use within government, build public trust, and hopefully encourage wider private sector uptake.
And the last one, securing our future with homegrown AI. This sounds quite strategic.
It is. The headline item here is establishing a UK sovereign AI unit.
Okay, what does that signal? More direct government involvement.
It potentially signals a shift, yeah. More direct state involvement in strategically critical AI areas, building partnerships, investing in fundamental research like AI for science, robotics.
And sovereign compute resources, too, building our own national capacity.
That's part of it. Yeah. Developing independent national capabilities in essential AI infrastructure. It suggests a recognition that for so really cutting-edge stuff, just relying on the market might not be enough to secure national interests.
Interesting. So maybe moving slightly beyond just setting the rules towards actively shaping certain key AI areas.
That seems to be the implication. A more hands-on approach might be seen as necessary for those pivotal domains, safeguarding national interests and fostering UK-based innovation.
Okay, high-level vision, philosophy, action plan. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the legislative and regulatory architecture itself.
And this is where things get really interesting, because we see that shift we talked about. The government started with a non-statutory preference.
But now we have the Artificial Intelligence Regulation Bill working its way through Parliament. In the House of Lords currently.
Right, a move towards a more formal framework.
And a big part of that bill is creating this dedicated AI authority. What's its job supposed to be?
Its proposed mandate is really broad. It's supposed to ensure existing regulators are actually doing the AI stuff within their remits, promote consistency between them, conduct gap analyses to see where rules might be missing, monitor AI risks across the whole economy, even accredit AI auditors.
So like a central coordinator, an overseer making sure all the pieces fit together.
That's the idea. A central hub for expertise and coordination, addressing that potential weakness in a purely decentralized model. And the bill also aims to put those 5 principles, safety, transparency, etc., into actual law.
Give them real legal teeth.
Exactly.
And it goes further, doesn't it? New obligations for businesses using AI.
It does. Things like a general duty of transparency about AI use, requirements for proper testing of AI models, making sure they comply with existing laws.
Like equalities legislation.
Yes, specifically ensuring AI respects equality law, is designed inclusively, avoids unlawful discrimination, and uses data that meets those FAIR principles. Findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, which is crucial for good AI.
And this idea of mandatory AI responsible officers, that sounds like a big step for accountability.
It would be significant, making it a legal requirement for businesses, maybe above certain threshold or in certain sectors, to appoint someone specifically responsible for the safe, ethical, non-discriminatory use of AI within their organization.
Wow, okay. Direct responsibility. What about transparency of the AI systems themselves, like the training data?
The bill touches on that too. Proposals for more transparency about training data sets, clear labeling for AI systems, maybe even health warnings for some types, and a push for mandatory third-party audits.
It definitely feels like a shift towards a more structured, legally defined approach compared to that initial principles-only idea.
It does.
What do you think is driving that? Building trust? Keeping up internationally?
Probably a bit of both. A growing feeling, perhaps, that a purely voluntary approach isn't enough for public and international confidence. Plus, aligning somewhat with international models, like the EU AI Act, helps with interoperability and collaboration. It's pragmatic.
So while this bill is debated, the current strategy still leans heavily on those existing regulators, right? Working alongside the central DSIT function.
That's the current operational model, yes.
Yeah.
Relying on their sector-specific expertise to apply the 5 principles. They know their patches: finance, health, media, whatever.
And the DSIT central function's job is, remind us again.
It's crucial for coherence, driving consistency across regulators, assessing cross-cutting risks, providing support like funding and links to research, running that steering committee, and, importantly, monitoring how well the whole system is working.
It's a tricky balance, isn't it? Using specialist knowledge, but needing central coordination so you don't get gaps or contradictions.
Absolutely. And one key mechanism for that coordination is making each regulator publish its own AI strategy.
Ah, so everyone can see how they're interpreting the principles, creating a feedback loop.
Exactly. It helps the government see how things are working in practice, spot issues, and refine the overall approach. It's an iterative process.
Okay, let's zoom in on some of those sector approaches. The ICO Information Commissioner's Office, what's their main angle on AI?
For the ICO, it's primarily through the lens of data protection. Their focus is ensuring AI systems handle personal data lawfully, fairly, and transparently, according to UK GDPR.
So UK GDPR is kind of the default ethical framework when personal data is involved.
In many ways, yes. They're concerned about things like algorithmic bias leading to unfair outcomes based on personal data, and making sure people understand how their data is used in AI decisions. Explainability is big for them.
Right. They've put out guidance on this, haven't they?
They have. Their strategic approach document outlines their priorities: fairness, transparency, accountability when personal data meets AI.
Okay. What about Ofcom? Communications regulator. AI must be huge for them.
Massive. Ofcom's looking hard at online safety risks, AI generating harmful content like deepfakes, the role of recommender algorithms under the Online Safety Act.
The algorithms that decide what you see online.
Exactly. Also, AI's role in spreading mis- and disinformation in the media and the security of telecoms networks against AI threats.
So, mostly focused on potential harms and misleading information online.
That's a big part of it. They're using their powers under the Online Safety Act and other laws, taking a risk-based approach, developing codes of practice to guide platforms.
Okay, shifting to finance. The FCA Financial Conduct Authority. How are they handling AI?
They're sticking largely to their existing principles-based, outcomes-focused approach, not rushing into new AI-specific rules just yet.
But they are engaging, doing things like the AI sprint.
Yes, the sprint was about dialogue and understanding, and they're planning this AI live testing initiative.
Live testing, that sounds bold for a regulator.
It's essentially a supervised sandbox, allowing firms to test AI models in real market conditions, but under the FCA's watch. Both sides learn about the practicalities, the risks, the benefits, before wider rollout.
A controlled environment. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, the CMA, Competition and Markets Authority, AI's impact on competition and consumers.
A really critical area. The CMA is worried about AI concentrating market power, especially with these big foundation models.
The ones that underpin lots of different AI tools.
Exactly. They've even issued specific principles for them to promote fair competition. They're also looking at consumer harms, AI enabling misleading info, unfair personalized pricing, and they're ready to use existing powers plus new ones under the DMCC Act to step in.
So keeping markets competitive and protecting consumers from AI-driven ripoffs or manipulation.
That's the core goal. Ensure AI fosters healthy competition and doesn't harm consumers.
Let's jump to healthcare, the MHRA, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency.
Crucial area. MHRA is actively updating medical device regs for AI things like software as a medical device or AI as a medical device.
SAMD and AI AMD. Got it.
Patient safety is paramount. They're working on risk classification, cybersecurity, and importantly, how to manage adaptive AI systems, ones that learn and change over time.
How do you regulate something that changes?
Through things like predetermined change control plans, basically outlining how an AI device is expected to evolve and ensuring safety is checked throughout that process. It's a unique challenge for healthcare AI.
That sounds vital. Are they working with others on this?
Yes, collaborating internationally, like with the IMDRF, and running pilots like the AI airlock to test regulatory approaches.
Okay, one more. The CAA, Civil Aviation Authority. AI in planes and air traffic control, high stakes.
It's extremely high stakes. Safety is absolutely number one for the CAA. They're developing definitions, sector-specific AI principles, looking at how AI can be used safely in aircraft, airports, airspace management.
And using AI themselves as a regulatory tool.
Exploring that too. But the bar for proving AI safety in aviation will be incredibly high. The burden of proof will be immense.
You'd certainly hope so. The standards there have to be rigorous.
Absolutely. Huge potential benefits, but the consequences of failure are unthinkable. So expect a very cautious, evidence-based approach from the CAA.
Right. So we've covered how the UK is trying to regulate AI across the board. Let's flip it. How is the UK government itself actually using AI?
This is a really important part of their strategy. They want to lead by example, show how AI can be used responsibly and effectively in the public sector. The main guide here is the AI Playbook for HM Government.
The AI Playbook sounds like the rule book for government departments.
It's more of a practical guide. It covers everything from understanding the basics of AI to detailed advice on managing AI projects ethically, legally, securely. It even has 10 principles for civil servants using AI.
10 principles. What's the main thrust?
Fundamentally, ensuring AI deployment is lawful, ethical, secure, effective. Big emphasis on human oversight, managing the whole life cycle responsibly, development, deployment, maintenance.
And this playbook absorbs earlier guidance, like the generative AI framework.
That's right. The Gen AI framework was a quicker, more targeted response to things like ChatGPT emerging. The playbook is broader, covering all AI in government. It shows they recognize Gen AI has unique aspects, but the core principles apply everywhere.
Makes sense to have targeted advice for the fast-moving stuff. Are we seeing actual AI use cases across government departments then, beyond the guidance?
Oh, yes. Lots of experimentation and implementation following that scan pilot scale idea. And DSIT's incubator for AI, II, is developing tools for cross-government use.
Like what kind of tools?
Things like Redbox to summarize long documents quickly, Consult to analyze thousands of consultation responses efficiently, Minute to automate meeting transcription. Common tools to boost efficiency.
Can you give some examples from specific departments? What are they actually doing?
Sure. The mode is using AI for object detection in satellite images, predicting spare part failures. DFE is looking at AI to help teachers with curriculum documents. Ofsted trialed AI to predict school performance decline.
Interesting. What about health or tax?
The NHS AI Lab is testing AI for interpreting stroke scans, chest x-rays.
Right.
HMRC uses predictive analytics for potential tax noncompliance, NLP for document analysis in fraud cases.
Home Office. Justice.
Home Office uses AI to help streamline passport applications. MOJ has explored AI for planning parental arrangements, helping police interpret incident reports. It's quite varied. DFT, DWP, they're all experimenting.
It sounds like the main drivers are efficiency gains and better decision-making support.
That's largely it for now. Automating routine tasks, processing data faster, providing insights to help human decision makers. That's where a lot of the initial focus is.
Okay, but for any of this to really take off, you need public trust. That feels critical. How's the government tackling that?
Absolutely crucial. Their trust strategy seems to have three main legs: establishing strong AI standards, building an AI assurance ecosystem, and embedding ethical thinking throughout policy.
Let's start with the AI Standards Hub. What's its role?
It's the national coordinator for the UK's work on AI standards, both here and internationally. It's a partnership, Alan Turing Institute, BSI, National Physical Laboratory, all backed by DSIT.
So, bringing together the research, the standards body, and the measurement experts.
Exactly. Its mission is to promote trustworthy AI through good standards. They track standards development, build a community, offer training, support research. Four main pillars to their work.
And why is it so important for the UK to be involved in setting these standards globally?
It's strategic. By shaping global technical standards, the UK can ensure they align with UK interests and values, things like fairness, privacy. It also helps UK AI companies compete internationally if standards are interoperable. It's about influencing the rulebook.
And BSI, the British Standards Institution, is key in developing these.
Yes, BSI is leading the charge in the UK. A big one is ISO IEC 42001 that's becoming the global standard for AI management systems. Getting certified shows a company is serious about responsible AI governance. The Standards Hub helps catalog all these different standards.
Okay, so standards are one piece. What about AI assurance? What does that mean?
Assurance is about independently verifying AI systems. Do they work as intended? Are they safe? Are they fair? Are they secure? It involves things like audits, impact assessments, certifications.
And the Center for Data Ethics and Innovation, CDEI, has a roadmap for this.
Yes, CDEI has laid out a plan to build a strong AI assurance ecosystem in the UK.
What are the priorities in their roadmap?
6 main areas: creating demand for assurance services, supporting the market providers, developing the actual standards and methods for assurance, professionalizing the field, training AI auditors,
Okay.
clarifying regulations' role in requiring assurance, and linking up with researchers to develop new techniques.
It sounds like they see this assurance industry not just as trust building, but as an economic opportunity for the UK, too.
Definitely. The vision is for the UK to be a world leader in AI assurance services. Good for trust at home, good for business globally.
Right. And finally, the ethics. How are ethical concerns, bias, transparency, accountability woven into all this?
Ethics are meant to be embedded throughout. Those 5 cross-sectoral principles are the ethical foundation. The AI bill tries to codify them and adds more ethical requirements. The AI playbook has detailed ethical guidance for the public sector.
And regulators like the ICO play a role, too.
Yes, the ICO enforces data privacy, which is a key part of ethical AI. CDEI's assurance work focuses on mitigating ethical risks. Security is covered by MCSE guidance, the PSCI Act for Consumer Connectable Products, and planned codes for AI model security. It's a multi-pronged approach to build trustworthy AI.
So policy, guidance, law, standards, assurance, all working together to build that trust.
That's the idea. A holistic approach addressing the tech and its societal impact.
We've mentioned DSIT a lot as the central coordinator. Are there other key institutions really shaping UK AI policy?
Absolutely. While DSIT is the nerve center, leading strategy and coordination, the AI Safety Institute is another really important player.
Right, the AI Safety Institute. Sounds critical, especially with how fast AI is moving. What's their specific job?
They operate within DSIT, but have a very focused mission: understanding and mitigating the risks of the most advanced, powerful frontier AI systems.
So the really cutting-edge stuff.
Exactly. They research how to evaluate these models' capabilities, potential harms. They do foundational safety research, look at societal resilience to AI risks, and feed all that evidence back into government policy. They're also big on international collaboration on safety.
So they're right at the sharp end, trying to get ahead of potential risks from the next generation of AI.
That's their role. It's vital work, not just for UK safety, but also for positioning the UK as a responsible global leader in AI and contributing to those crucial international safety discussions.
Okay, well, we have covered a lot of ground today. A real deep dive into the UK's AI vision, that principles-based regulation shifting towards a formal bill, the regulators getting involved, government using AI itself, and all the work on trust through standards and assurance.
It's definitely a complex picture, constantly evolving.
Yeah.
But hopefully this has given you a good handle on the main themes, the key debates, and where the UK seems to be heading with AI.
The ambition is definitely clear, and the approach seems, well, multi-layered.
It is. Trying to balance innovation, safety, ethics, economic growth. It's a huge undertaking.
So here's something for you to think about, a final thought. We've talked about this tension, the pro-innovation goal versus the push for stronger, clearer rules, maybe like in the AI bill. What do you think is the right balance for the UK? How do they best achieve those huge AI ambitions while keeping things safe and maintaining public trust for the long haul?
Yeah, finding that sweet spot, that's probably going to define the next chapter for the UK in this algorithmic age.
And look, if any particular part of this discussion caught your interest, maybe a specific regulator or the AI Safety Institute or the standards work, we really encourage you to dig deeper into the documents and resources we mentioned.
Definitely. Think about how these policies might affect your own work, your industry, or just your area of curiosity. There's
Mhm.
a huge amount of detail out there if you want to explore further.